Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Tonight, the Formula College World Championship heads south to the Peach State for the running of You Should Go to Petit Le Mans Grand Prix, presented by Charger Motorsports. Good evening, everyone. I'm your host, Cade Corbin, joined by Jackson Lambros and Marlo Duncan, where we will be bringing you live flag-to-flag coverage from the virtual Road Atlanta down in Georgia in the United States of America. It's going to be a fantastic one today, as this is the fourth road course of the season, and we are in season 6. This is race number 9 of the season, which means we are getting down to it after tonight. Just 5 more races until we will determine our series champion. So let's go ahead and get started with this one. Qualifying already underway. Marlo, previous driver in this series, so a lot of information to offer us. Marlo, what can you tell us about this track?
I mean, Road Atlanta, one of the greatest tracks on iRacing. So much fun, great passing zones, especially down into turn 6 and turn 10A. You can get some good moves down into there. Some of the trouble areas are going to be the S's and that sort of turn 1 to turn 3 complex. You could see a couple incidents there. And turn 7, it's a more than 90-degree radius corner. It's going to be a great race today. I can already feel it.
And we did run this race in Season 4 back when we had the Formula cars, but these are Indy cars, which are going to drive a little bit different than those other open-wheel cars. Right now, taking a look at Drew Williams from Clemson, and we're going to switch up here to Ricky Paz, your director of the FC Series there in the 19 for East Carolina University. Want to take you through a couple of the rules real quick for this one. The 105% rule is in effect, and it's bitten a couple of drivers this season. In order to qualify for the field, you must set a lap time within 105% of the fastest driver, and we've seen that knock a couple of guys out, like I said. So qualifying super important here. This is when you're going to lay down your fastest lap, and you are going to try to get within 105% of that lap time. Ricky Paz right here down into the chicane section, all the way down to second gear and heavy back onto the throttle. Jackson, welcome to the booth. First off, just want to let you know we are super happy to have you, super glad that you can join us tonight. We finally got multiple people up here. We've been trying all season to do it. So what are you looking forward to most about this race, and what are you excited about?
Yeah, happy to be here, Cade. Grown up just a stone toss away from Long Beach and been surrounded by IndyCar my whole life, and some of my best sim racing experiences have been during my time in college, only a year out of college, but happy to be a part of this booth. Road Atlanta is such an interesting track in that it's very much proven as a sports car course in my mind, but we act about in mentally all of these, coulda, shoulda, woulda's of what would a real life race here look like. And the answer, as we've seen in season 4, Marlo, it's a really good on-track product. You've got some really, really, technical, really tight areas where overtaking isn't possible, but you've got plenty of areas where you can certainly get your fangs out.
Oh, most certainly. Especially in sports cars, there's been some absolute great moments. The two Cadillacs taking each other out a couple years ago, but these are Formula cars. It's even more fragile than sports cars. You could have the tiniest little contact, and it'll send you off into a million pieces, and your race done right there.
We've seen plenty of drama in the real life world, and Cade, as this championship battle heats up between our Muhammad Alif and Ryan Whitlock, I think we could absolutely see that same kind of drama here in virtual Georgia.
Yeah, I think this is going to be one of the races that is really going to show the best of the best. We've had a few of those races this season where I felt like the cream has really risen to the top. And so I want to take a moment. Unfortunately, I don't think we have a graphic for it, but looking at the overall point standings, right now it is only a 2-point difference between first and second. Muhammad Alif beating his teammate Cale Davidson right now, again by just 2 points. Wyatt Burton is within 40 points of Alif. Clint Halterman is within 60. Jake Cummings in 5th, right behind Halterman. Those are all drivers, top 5 in points. They're all incredibly good. All of them have multiple top 5s on the season. And so those, I think, are really going to be the guys to pay attention to for this race. Another name you mentioned right there, Ryan Whitlock, my coach, my buddy, my school, we're sponsoring this race, Charger Motorsports, something that I think he put together a little bit at the last minute. And this is a track where he is incredibly strong as well. He didn't mention his name in the top 5 in points, so he wants to rebound a little bit, get a little bit of a better season going. He did win New Hampshire, and today he's looking for win number 2.
I want to say, by the way, really love the livery you guys are running. Shades of the Scott Dixon Target era, the lightning bolt. Love to see it, obviously, in that different Dynaco-esque color, shall we say? But
yeah, that's our school blue, and that's a scheme that Ryan's really proud of. I think he whipped it up himself. So
I think this is a great time, though, to kind of talk about what your school, what UAH does on the sim racing side, and kind of why you guys have approached this event to be a title sponsor.
This is don't want to get too biased, don't want to get too into it. We only got 4 minutes left of qualifying here, but the virtual racing project was something that honestly Ryan kind of started picking up a couple of years ago, looking for other students at the school. And I came in my freshman year. Unfortunately, I didn't hear about it. Luckily, I was able to figure out about it this year, my sophomore year, and he was super receptive to me getting involved. Connor Bingle also running this race. He got involved the same year I did. We're really open to trying to grow our team, trying to get new drivers, get people involved. And down in Huntsville, Alabama, only a 2-hour drive from Road Atlanta. So we consider this to be kind of our home track. Ryan's had a couple of funny moments here as well, especially down in turn 6. But as we get back to the race, looks like we got about 3 minutes left in qualifying. And right now, how about Wyatt Burton just a little bit ahead of Alif for the provisional pole position? Still a couple more laps to be turned. But Marlo, what was typically your process when you were going into qualifying, knowing that you had to set as fast a lap as you could?
I mean, it really depended track to track. There were certain tracks where you had to be on it right away and before the tires fell off. I think Suzuka was one where you really had to get right onto it on that first lap before the tires basically disintegrated. But most tracks, I'm kind of going at it, first lap's a prep lap, second lap you're getting that banker lap in, and then the third lap is just full send, get that time in, try and see how much you can improve.
If you don't really get what you want after those 2 banker laps, how much longer do those tires really provide you with solid pace before you start to see a serious fall off?
Again, it's so track dependent. Like a lot of the, especially here through the S's, you're going to see a lot more tire wear on the reds. But at a place like Long Beach, the tires seem to hold on forever. It feels like you could if you have those first two subpar laps, you can get that third lap in. But especially at Suzuka, I had to get that right away, and I sometimes just don't have that as a driver.
Right. I'm almost fearing we've lost Cade here in the broadcast, watching Esteban Munoz work his way back into the pit, sliding into the tire barrier there, trying to get
Yeah, sorry, I'm trying to get our stream organized here. We do have a couple of difficulties. We have a little bit of a late race sub for our producer, Lee Kane, unfortunately out sick tonight, so we wish him well, and we welcome Matthew Nordberg to the production booth. Want to shout out Matthew, typically a driver in this series, but he's gone ahead and helped us out behind the booth. And so we did have a little bit of an issue with the stream. I believe we are streaming under the one labeled for Iowa. And so hopefully we can get that rectified and let everybody figure that out here. We got a couple more minutes to figure it out. But, we're really thankful for Matthew Norberg, and we're really thankful for you guys for tuning in to watch this race. Like we said, there's still a few races to go in the season. You're not going to want to miss a single minute of it, and all of those minutes will be brought to you live here on the Collegiate iRacing League YouTube channel. So if you don't want to miss it, like the video and subscribe to the channel. Really helps this series out a lot. And with just 38 seconds left in qualifying, it looks like for the first time this season on a road course, our Muhammad Alif will not lead us to the green. Wyatt Burton right now still setting up to win the pole. It would be his first of the season. And so, Marlo, what do you think? Does this mean that maybe we have a race where we could see a new winner, somebody not go out and dominate it the way that Alif has?
I mean, it's surprising to me. He's normally on it always, and he's right there at the front by normally around a couple tenths. But this week, I don't know, maybe he clipped the grass somewhere, couldn't, get that full time out of it. Maybe he was up by a couple tenths and then got an off track. But I think we still will see a pretty exciting race here with maybe a first-time winner.
Some more food for thought here, gentlemen. Only 0.042 seconds, separating those two, less than half a tenth of a second there, showing you just the margin between our front row here. But we know the kind of guy Alif is. He's not necessarily the guy to go in and guitar hero this track and go in lap after lap. And I think that goes to show you the kind of effort Burton has arguably put in this weekend so far.
Yeah, and we know Burton has been a little bit of a guy where he's typically done really well at the ovals, but I think his road course racing prowess has been a little bit overshadowed by that, I would say. He has run really, really well on these road courses. I believe he was third, if not somewhere else, in the top 5 last week at Montreal. He's a really good all-round driver, and I don't want anybody to say that he's purely an oval guy. Mr. Excitement is going to be leading us to the pole on a road course, and he's going to be doing it alongside our Muhammad Alif. How about Lucas Moody, qualified in third? We're going to get the full starting order here in just a minute. So, but we're going to go ahead and migrate over to the Road Atlanta stream link. So if you're watching us under the Iowa stream, we're going to head back over to Road Atlanta, and we should get that under the correct title. So we're going to go ahead and migrate. Might take a few seconds here. But in the meantime, is there any other points we got to talk about? Anything you guys think of? Jackson, Marlo, anything you want to go over before the race?
I mean, we know turn 1 and lap 1 has an opportunity to be hectic, Marlo. We know how tight that it can get in the S's, but aside from that, I mean, definitely a lot of options for strategy. We got plenty of time to really break that down in the opening lap, though.
Yeah, I definitely think that figuring out early if it's going to be that softer red compound or that harder black compound, figuring out which one's faster at those first couple laps is going to be really important. Once you can figure that out, that'll decide your strategy for the rest of the race.
And we've seen in the past, the concept of the red tires versus the black tires is for your alternate tire to give you an advantage in the short run, but fall off really quickly, and that hasn't always been the case. And so, like Marlo said, that's going to be something that these drivers are going to have to figure out in the race. Is this one of those races where those tires are going to behave as typical, or is it going to be one of those races where the advantage of the red is going to be so much greater that it's going to be worth it to have the reds on as much as you can? These drivers are required to swap between the two different compounds. A green flag lap must be completed on each of the two, and so that's just another thing that's going to throw a little bit of wrench into this. So I believe